yeah, Veronica Mars, I'm watching you. Private eye.
Hello and welcome to your podcast, Veronica Mars. I'm Joe.
And I'm Travis.
And today we're bringing you our last episode of this show.
You know what? I just said to Joe, I don't really feel that sad about this. And then I heard that intro and I realized it's the last time. And it hit me a little bit. It hit me a little bit.
I think also what kind of helps with it, like, not being too sad is we are planning something else after this. Not, like, immediately, but, like,
yeah.
This isn't the last. It's the last of Veronica Mars. Which
I mean, maybe it won't, maybe
celebrate.
not. It's the last for now.
For now.
It's on you, Hulu.
Yeah, I would be a pretty good bet man to put my money on.
You know what?
This is the
I
end
would
of the
be okay.
podcast.
I'd be really okay if Veronica Mars just came back like every few years.
I would love that, honestly. Like, that would be great, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think, like,
But
let's say Kristen Bell has a huge controversy, loses her Disney money, needs to make a couple bucks. I think she could turn to Rob and be like, hey, let's see if we can get Hulu to greenlight this off my controversy.
because Rob's doing Lost Boys right now, right? And I don't know if that got picked up.
I don't-
He's working on.
No, yeah, I don't know if it got picked up. I don't know. Lost Boys was such a big movie for me as a kid. Like, it
Did it
shaped a lot
awaken
of things
something
for me.
inside? Yeah, I'm
A
sure
little
it
bit,
did.
a little goth faggot in me.
I
was
don't-
super awakened.
If it was like someone else doing Lost Boys, I just don't think it's gonna have the homophobic overtones that I want, or the gay eroticism.
Subtext. The gay subtext.
Not even subtext. It's just the gay
That's
text.
true. Fair. Yeah, there's not much subtext to be had.
Like, get Greg Berlanti on this.
Oh no. Do we?
Hey, he knows his gays.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. The Supernatural writers were really good at queer baiting with brothers, nonetheless. So I can only imagine what they could do with some vampires.
This is true.
Oh my god. But we're not here to talk about Rob Thomas.
I mean, we kind of we are.
Yeah, I guess we're not here to talk about his future projects.
No.
So, what are you taking away from this podcast in terms of the show? In terms of the show Veronica Mars, what are you taking away?
I have accepted that I only like the first 2 seasons, and that's okay.
Okay, yeah, I mean, so nothing. What has changed?
What has changed?
What's been? Yeah.
I will admit, like, I think I wish I could, like, I should have re-listened to the first episode. Ooh. But let's just say my perspective of Logan is a little different.
Honestly, if one thing can come out of this podcast, it being you being more of a fan of Logan, I think job well done. I think well done.
I will admit, I think as an adult, I'm able to separate a lot of my issues with Logan as being fandom problems and not necessarily the show problems. I do think season 2 tried really hard to make it him as a co-lead, and with him and Veronica not dating or interacting, it really split the stories.
And it was hard.
Because it felt like half the episode was a Logan episode and half the episode was a Veronica episode. And since they weren't talking, you couldn't have these storylines cross.
Yeah.
So sometimes it felt very forced. It felt like a mandate, like Logan has to be in every episode. And he didn't really need to be.
No, he didn't. And I think I have the inverse where, like, I was very much part of that Logan Veronica fandom. Not in
you were, sir.
Yes, I was. But coming out of that as an adult and being like, maybe this wasn't the end all be all. I had eventually. Like, honestly, though, I'm really upset that there's no chance of an endgame without a retcon. A very serious retcon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I like them for a bit of a... I don't even know if it's a different reason anymore. It's more just how they push each other, I guess. More was... Like, back then was more like the chemistry and
the chemistry is what made them, and then I think the writers,
epicness of it all.
I think the epicness is, I think it's stupid. I don't think their romance was that epic. I think they're very overdramatic. It came off as very overdramatic teenagers, because, like, it wasn't that
and
epic.
I was an overdramatic teenager, so it worked for me.
What's so epic about it? Oh my god, your dad killed my best friend. Epic!
I mean... If that happened in real life, I would probably be doing the same exact thing, being like, you do not know the backstory here. Like, it's juicy. It's juicy.
And I think the biggest problem was they couldn't let the characters just be happy. So whenever there was like an actual moment of them, it's like they can't have sex or else Logan turns into a vampire. It's like that whole stupid...
There's a reason why Joss Whedon loved this show so much. I mean, like, he's like, yes, lovers that just are tortured the whole time and never get
there was
happiness.
no actual reason for Logan and Veronica not to be together, except for very contrived story elements that, especially in season 3, because they were in such a good place, and they're finally, like... Season 3 could have just been them as a couple the entire season, and it would have been fine.
I would have loved that.
Yeah. There was no reason to break them up. No reason.
Not at all. It was...
And especially since at the end, it's like, they hinted that they're going to get back together, so you're like, there's no... This doesn't have any, like, lasting effects.
Well,
then they got
fixed
canceled.
that in season 4.
Yeah.
Which I will say, what I loved... I think one of the things I loved most in season 4 was getting those moments between the two of them as adults.
But then also Logan was so underused in season 4, which again was so weird.
Being one of the 3 leads.
Yeah, he was basically just like, he was only in the storyline because he was, what's his name, Daniel's bodyguard. And then Daniel had very little to do with the actual story.
That was, yeah, because you could have literally cut him out of it and the season would have lost nothing.
Nothing. No, all it pretty much did was give Logan something to do and then the assassin something to do. But
which we could have lost.
That didn't lead to anything important.
Except for killing Big Dick, but anyone could have done that.
But Big Dick, did they learn that from, like... They could have made that work somewhere else, because the Daniel thing was stupid.
Yeah, they could have done it with literally any other reason.
And then having that one brother survive and come shoot Daniel, and then Daniel doesn't even die, and then he's not even, like, he's not even in the finale. It's like, what was the point of this, except for, like, it's weird when shows have filler when they're only 8 episodes long. It's like, do you only have enough story for 6 episodes, but, like, Hulu demanded you make 8?
See, but I think that could work if you go into it knowing that you're going to be giving, like, 2 filler episodes for, like, character work, but that's not what had happened.
That's not what they did. That's not what had happened, like, you see.
I think that would be a really smart way to go into, like, if Hulu, Netflix, whatever, gives you 8 episodes, 6 episodes of, like, pure story, I think is a good amount to, without going too long, too short, like, getting just the amount needed. And then, like, 2 episodes where you get to, like, flesh out some of your people, that would be...
Because Umbrella Academy has, like, 10 episode seasons, and they're very story-driven, but there's also some, like, great, like, character story episodes where they feel like it feels like in season 1 they had that like, whole episode with 5 and his whole like experience, and it's technically kind of just like a filler episode, but it does so much for the character. It sets up everything else that happens afterwards.
Like, it doesn't always have to be plot that moves the story forward. Like, you could do character work to move the story forward. Because I would have loved some more on Veronica's just, like, day-to-day life. Because we don't actually get very much of that. No, not at all. It goes right into her trying to solve...
because, like, one of the best things in that season is the first scene where she's helping, not Madison. Endings. And, I mean, I would have loved... Honestly, an 8 episode, if every episode of season 8 was like a different mystery, I would have taken it, like a different little fun thing. I love her going around, like, and also would have been really interesting because she would be basically working for a bunch of people she went to school with.
Yes.
And I think that would have been so fascinating to see kind of like this dynamic, because they're still these 09ers, but they also realize that Veronica has a very important role that she can play.
Like, it would have been fun seeing her take, like, Keith's spot in the town of, like, oh, well, fuck, like, the police department isn't going to do anything. Let's call up Veronica, because I know, like, she'll at least handle it. Like, just to see, like, her in her day-to-day solving these 09ers, like, stupid fucking problems. And her making good money from it. Like, I get, like, the whole haves versus the have-nots. Like, Veronica's poor, this and that. We talked about it extensively in season 1 because it was used extensively in season 1. But it would be nice to just see her, like, getting loaded off of these 09ers. Like, give me that sort of, like, biblical justice. Like,
I also would have loved to see, like... It also felt like the movie didn't really have any impact on the rest of on season 4. Like, I feel like Dick being an actor felt weird. I would have loved to see more people like Veronica being more ostracized from the 09er community, since she kind of got a bunch of them killed.
Well, that was their fault. Like, come on. They killed someone first.
Yeah. Also, the fact that we had Chow's Pizza for 8 episodes, not a single Asian employee, was kind of like really tone deaf, and I'm just going to throw it out there.
It was, and not even being able to see, like, is it an empire? Like, it would make more sense if it was like an empire of like pizza chains or whatever.
Not even maybe like a franchise. Maybe not an empire. Maybe
I want a pizza empire.
But I think it would have been interesting, even if you can't get the kid who played like the son from that episode. Because like maybe he doesn't act anymore.
I want the dad. I want the dad back, like popping in to check on one of his many franchises. I think it'd be really interesting
to see how the son didn't get the scholarship. So instead, he turned this pizza place into like an empire, sure, whatever.
See, you want the pizza empire too? The pizza empire.
It's Pizza Hut. Empire. It goes Pizza Hut, Chow's, then Domino's.
Domino's is trash. Oh, I hate Domino's.
I couldn't think of any other fast food pizzas.
What is
Papa John's?
Ugh, I'd rather have Domino's.
Is Papa John's the one where you had to heat it yourself?
No, that's Papa Murphy's.
I never understood that concept.
Me either. I'm like,
I could go to Walmart and buy a pizza for $3 and make it myself, and that's what we're doing.
And it's like, it's no cheaper than buying an already heated pizza.
That's the thing. I'm like, so you guys are saving on like
a lot of electricity.
I don't know. But I'm spending more on electricity.
I have to heat up my house in order to eat this, like, in the summer. That's not going to cut it. It's also not going to cut it.
If my dad came home with dinner and it was like a frozen, like an uncooked pizza, like, first of all, what, we're going to all wait an hour for that pizza to cook? Or?
Well, they're not frozen pizzas. They're, like, fresh. So it only takes, like, 10-15 minutes to bake.
Still, you come home with a pizza, now your kid's got to wait. Like, no.
Oh, my God.
Self-respecting parent is bringing home a cold pizza to their family. If my dad said he was bringing home pizza and my mom then had to go cook it, she would stab him in the face. I'm going to tell you that right now.
You know what he could do is tell her ahead of time to preheat the oven, so when they get home, it's just like pop it in and go. Like, you get home from work or whatever, you still got to change. You still have to.
Are you defending them now?
I am a little bit because
Or I could just order from Pizza Hut. Or, Little Caesars. I don't know if you guys have Little Caesars, but I love Little Caesars.
You can't. I don't think you can get Little Caesars delivered, but we do have Little Caesars, and they're $5 take and go pizzas.
$5 pizzas, yeah.
Yeah. It's the best thing ever. I can't.
It is. I'm like, I don't know if I trust it because I'm like, how long has this pizza been sitting there? But for $5, I'll take it.
Yeah, right. I'll trust anything for $5.
Their crazy bread is fantastic.
It is with their marinara sauce. Yes.
Love that. They deliver. They do deliver here, but it's a 5-minute walk from my house, so I've never got it delivered because it's just like I'm like I can't be that person that gets it delivered, and the driver basically goes down a block to deliver it.
Gonna earn that tip. Oh.
The only time I ordered Little Caesars, I ordered it from a different one that was a bit further away because I didn't want it to be that one.
Idiot! I was only defending Papa Murphy's because I wanted to originally bash Papa John's.
Isn't Papa John's he's an awful person? Wasn't that established?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But aside from that, like, I swear to God, they put sugar in their dough. Like, it is, like, the sweetest pizza I have ever eaten. Or maybe it's in the sauce. Either way, like, it is a very sweet tasting
Do you know
pizza.
what was really gross and I regret buying it? Pizza Hut has made a dessert pizza, and my friend and I bought it, and it was not good.
Oh, no. Is it like one of those cookies?
No, it was like pizza dough with like chocolate sauce and like
Marshmallow?
I think there was marshmallow on it. When I was a kid, there used to be a Pizza Hut like buffet by my place, and my dad, if we ever had like a doctor's appointment or something, we'd go there. It'd be great.
We have that. It's called Cece's Pizza. I don't know. Did I take you? I didn't take you there when you came.
No, I don't think we did. We ordered pizza, and I think I ordered Pizza Hut. I can't remember.
Next time you come. Next time you come
to Denver, but don't visit me.
Next time you go, we should just do like a buffet quest, and every day we have.
Well, I need that. Is it like the 25-cent Chinese buffet or whatever it is?
Oh, don't know about that. That sounds like was it some sort of.
Weren't you telling me about like it was you pay by the scoop or something?
Oh yeah, the $1.25 Chinese scoop. Yeah.
I underballed it, but it's $1.25.
It's $1 more than a 25-cent, sir. You got to earn that chow mein scoop. Gross. No, I don't trust anything that charges by the scoop. I am sorry. I don't care how good it is. That's just frightening. Unless it's ice cream, which of course you kind of have to charge by the scoop. So, let's move back to our podcast / Veronica Mars.
I mean, okay, so I think what Joe and I think the big reason we wanted to do this final episode, because it's not really, like, we kind of had said our piece about the season 4, and I think it's been very clear about our opinions on all the seasons. I think if you've listened to 100 episodes of us talking, you know where we stand. I think what the important thing is, like, I'm just, like, fucking amazed people listened and, like, interact with us on social media, and, like, you guys are fantastic, and it's great that a lot of you, we've been able to kind of befriend and not move past Veronica Mars, but all find very common interest in stuff and bullshit, and it's a beautiful thing.
It's fun, and like you said, like I did not expect it. That was fun. Like when we like started this, I'm like, cool, we'll get like 5 listeners, and they'll be our friends, and they'll like feel like they have to listen to it because they're the only ones.
I mean, my best friend kind of stopped listening to it, so
my husband never listened past the pilot, so
I understand. I can understand that.
Also, I was like, please don't listen. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't, because he'll like fall asleep to podcasts like all the time.
You don't want to hear your voice.
You know what I don't need to hear, like, as I'm going to bed, is me talking about this show that he's like watched once. Like,
that's why I told my boyfriend not to listen, because I'm like, you have no context for this.
right? I mean, granted, we do digress quite a bit, but
there's still a lot of Veronica. There's still a lot of Veronica.
It's mainly
Mars.
Veronica Mars.
Out of the 100 episodes, maybe we can make like 4 episodes not about Veronica Mars. If we cut it, I bet we could probably make 4 solid hour-long episodes about not Veronica Mars stuff.
Easily, just probably out of the first season, honestly.
Yeah, and that's not even including the side. Like, ignore all the side episodes that we did.
All those Buffy, Charm, whatever. No, coronavirus episodes. Oh god, that was a journey. We did this podcast through coronavirus. That's fun to think about. Like, because a lot of people started podcasts during the pandemic. Because it was like everyone was at home.
We were before, like, we had our podcast running before the pandemic.
A year before, thank you. And I'd also, like, so another big thing that happened, a month into this podcast, about a month and a half, maybe 2, like, almost 2 months into the podcast, season 4 was released, and the fandom
I'm not going to say
imploded.
that torpedoed our podcast, but I don't think it helped our podcast.
It definitely didn't.
It's really funny because, like, when they announced the season and we started seeing trailers, I thought, cool, we might see like an influx of listeners, like, and cool stuff like that, and like, I mean,
I will say though, we didn't.
that was a fun, like, social media, like Twitter for that like week was. I quite enjoyed it, to be honest.
It was just a headache. It was just a constant headache. Oh my god!
And we got a lot of hate. Not a lot of hate, but we got like a nice little pushback when we supported Veronica doing drugs.
Oh yeah, because we were that weird weed podcast because of that.
Yeah.
So like, what would annoy me is I wouldn't even like be adding anybody. Like, I would just say whatever, and then people wanted to come in and like attack about whatever, and then get pissy when I snap back, and I'm just like, you came into my mentions with this.
That's
like,
the problem with social media. People want to like have their opinion, but then also not have anyone else's opinion
on there. Yeah, it's just
it's like everyone's allowed an opinion except you're not allowed an opinion on me.
So with that, like, I'm really thankful to those that stayed through, even if you weren't too much of a fan of the show any longer. Because I know there were some listeners who just didn't care about the like show anymore, but kept listening to the podcast. And thank you, that's amazing.
But also,
they still
I feel
liked
like
the original seasons. Like,
that's the thing. Like, there's shows that have gone bad. Doesn't mean like. Season 5 of Alias is a fucking garbage pile. It's such a bad season, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I love Alias.
I've never seen it, so I can't comment.
fair.
I'm trying to think of.
That's fair.
Oh, season 5 of The Magicians was kind of a trash pile for. No, that's not fair. It started out really strong. I don't. It's been a while, but
Because there's shows like
Grey's
I
Anatomy.
hate to bring it up, but like Glee, I think the first season of Glee is good, okay.
was going to bring up Glee instead. Oh my god, but then I was like, no, because I don't like love that show to this day. Like, it's not something I'm like, Glee.
I don't know if I love the show, but like, I think that
is
first
camp.
season and the music from that first season, there was something really special about season 1 of Glee. Something very special,
was.
and I think it wasn't just the writing that has cursed that show. I think there's clearly other elements that have come to pass since then. I'm very excited for Naya's Catwoman. I'm very glad she was able to finish it.
Perfect casting.
Yeah.
I am so excited to hear that.
I think that comes out in July.
Oh wow, we're only a month out from that? Really? Wow. Damn. Dude, this pandemic restrictions like lifted and time has gone back to like
Oh my
super
god.
fast.
Okay, so like that's my biggest issue at work right now is because we're starting to lift things, but people are like, so right now if you want to come to the pool, you need to reserve a time. But people are not just showing up to the pool like, oh, restrictions are like done, right? Like COVID's over. It's like, no, like we're lifting restrictions, but it's not like a light switch where everything just returns to normal. Don't burn your mask yet, guys.
What do they think that's gonna happen? They're just gonna like show up and like you're gonna be like, oh well, you guys thought, okay, well everyone in the pool, like,
Yeah.
what's the thought process with that? Like, I really would like to know. You get in the car, you're in your bathing suits, or you have your bathing suits on underneath your clothes. You're driving the trek to the rec center. You get there, and you're just gonna like complain until you get let in the.
Well, my favorite thing is people just like just showing up. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
like-
are you guys open now? It's like, yeah, we've been open for the last like year. No, but like actually open. Like I don't want to reserve a spot. It's because the problem is people don't want to have to make accounts because there's a lot of like sketchy people, and we need like your just give us fake information. It's not like we check your IDs or anything.
Oh wow!
But people, and also people don't want to pay ahead of time because you don't get a refund if you don't show up. You don't get a refund, so people don't like that. Because a lot of people will call, be like, "Oh, I was supposed to go to like the pool an hour ago, but I decided not to go. So if you could just refund me," it's like, oh, "You're a fucking idiot." No, you're not. It's
like okay, like how are you? That's mind-boggling. So you took like the time away from like someone else being able to get the pool, and then
that's the problem. That's why we don't. That's why we don't give refunds, and that's why we take payment ahead of time. Is because when we first started, we were a little like lax on it, and then people started to abuse it.
Well, oh yeah, of course they would. Like, whatever. Those people have never worked any sort of customer service. Otherwise, they just wouldn't. But
So yeah, back to this thing called Veronica Mars that we discussed.
Fuck.
Okay, so like, yes, we're very grateful for the people, and I don't know. I feel like a very different person from when we started because I am.
You have gone
also
on a
very
little bit of a
different
journey
person.
yourself since we started this.
Yeah.
You really have. I do want to shout out.
I've gone through like 3 different jobs since we started this too. So
Jesus Christ, have you ever? My God. Nope, same job. Just no promotion that has made this tail end of the podcast extremely difficult to do.
my favorite thing was last week or no, the week before. I'm like, hey, when do you want to record? And Joe's like, fuck, it's Wednesday, isn't it?
It's just really rough to know days of the week. Like, and it's funny because I actually should know Wednesday because that's usually like, if I only get like one day off a week, it tends to be Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I should know that, but like I'm usually just so drained. I'm like, day off. Don't know what day it is. It's just day off.
Well, I got wasted on Monday night, and then I have Tuesday, Wednesday off, and then my manager's like, "Can I just call you for a second?" I'm like, "Sure." And she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm a little hungover, and I'm still in bed, and it's 1:00. What do you want?" She's like,
Living
"I just
in
want to
your truth."
see. I just want to know if the last couple days have been really rough." I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Oh my God, that's what happened. Like, I'm not a drinker, like even like a casual, like whatever drinker. And like last week I bought a bottle of tequila.
You're a
and I'm
brunch.
like, I need
as I
this.
learned, Joe's not a drinker, but take him to brunch. Joe's a drinker.
Oh, okay. A special events is a different thing. If we're going like
We drank
out,
that entire week I was there. We went to the liquor store like 3 times.
first of all, that wasn't even really for me. That was for you and Austin.
Oh, sorry.
Let's not act like I was over there like buying bottles.
Okay, in the States, they have so much better alcohol options. Like, you get so many things, like, in mini versions that you can't in Canada.
We
So I
have-
to try all these things.
Like liquor mega domes here. Like, yeah.
Oh my god. That one we went to that was basically, like, a Walmart for liquor, like, blew my mind.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it was so
I
cheap.
worked across the street
So
from that
cheap.
for like
Oh my god.
7
Also,
years.
just walking into a
6
Walmart and being like, let me just get some booze while I'm here. Like,
For a while, it's changed. It wasn't real. I mean, it was real alcohol, but like alcohol
It
was
wasn't,
like
like,
what,
hard
5-6%.
yeah.
Well, no. Like, instead of like the beers being like 5% alcohol or whatever, they're 3% if they're sold in a grocery
why
store.
would you even bother then?
Because you could get the convenience. You just have to drink twice as much.
You
It's
just
fine.
just two. You're right. And it's.
The savings.
I'll just get a 12-pack. It's fine.
I'm not an alcoholic. These are just really light.
I mean, I got a whole bunch of those little shot ones because I wanted to try out the Bacardi flavors.
You did. Yes, you did.
And then someone cut me in front in the line, and in the States, I'm afraid to get shot, so I didn't really say anything.
Oh, that's right. And then that other cashier opened up. But,
You know what I would have liked on Veronica Mars season 4?
What?
A scene of Logan and Veronica at the gun range together. I think that would have been fun.
That would have been fucking hilarious. Oh my god. I would love to
Because
see...
she's a better shot than him.
She's the better shot, but he is very much, because he's also military, like all on like the safety and like regulations and everything. And he's like critiquing her form the whole time.
Like, she's a
like,
better
whatever.
shot, but like she needs 3 shots. He's a more accurate shot.
Fair.
That makes
Fair.
sense.
Yeah, she does need 3 shots.
Like, she'll
Scene
take
in
a
that
man.
episode.
She'll take a man down, but she's gonna need a few shots. He's gonna take a man down. He's the headshot guy.
He's a sniper? Sniper
And Veronica doesn't
sniping.
like headshots. Headshots are messy.
There's just brain matter that I don't want to deal with. But I want to, before I forget, shout out someone. Miss Svenja, who was there since day one. She was actually our first like interaction on social media with the podcast, and she does still listen. She just gets behind like I do on all my podcasts as well.
Fair.
But I just want to say thank you, Svenja, for being our first fan, our first listener, our first.
And like, I think genuinely likes us, because she like comments on my other stuff too. She's like a sweetie. She's a sweetheart.
She is, and that's really like nice to have as your first interaction with like as a like.
Oh my god, not being like, can you
podcast.
beg? Shut up, please. Thank you. I will
Which
say,
honestly,
I'm
valid
a little
criticism.
disappointed. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get some like homophobic hate. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it just would have been nice, okay?
Where was the
You know you-
homophobia, people?
You know you made it when.
Someone
That's
calls
my
you a
goal for
dumb
our
fucking
next
butt pirate
podcast.
faggot on YouTube
Yeah.
comment.
But then I don't think a lot of like I don't think the Veronica Mars fandom has a lot of like crossover for the people who say faggot, so
Right.
unless you're Rob Thomas, but that's a whole different story.
Let's see. Is there anything you wanted to talk about fan wise? I thought you wanted to bring that you mentioned something the other day.
If I did, I don't recall. It's just been cool. Like it's very exciting. I think Veronica doing a Veronica Mars podcast felt like a very safe way to start a podcast, because no matter
Well,
at the beginning, I thought
you
no
go.
matter what, I wouldn't get tired of talking about Veronica Mars. I learned my lesson.
But then you realized you had to talk more than just season 1 and 2.
Because Joe had like wild promises that we would just like condense season 3, and we did not do that.
I tried helping us. I tried. I'm sorry.
Talking about season 3 wasn't the worst. I think like mid season 2 is actually the hardest to talk about. That's when we started to really like. I don't know what it was. Mid-season 2 of Veronica Mars is not very good.
It hit a weird point.
And I think the problem is all of season 3 is not very good, so you're like, whatever. But like season 2 has some really good stuff
Yeah,
in it.
it really does. And it's sprinkled throughout, so it's not
Season 2 should have been like 18 episodes long.
Also, we got to season 2, I believe, like as the pandemic hit, so we were going through it at the time. Like,
did we?
I think so, because I believe we took like our break during like the midway point of season 2.
Maybe. I'm trying to think, what did we record when I was in Denver?
The Amanda Nord episode and a Buffy thing.
Oh, we didn't do any Veronica Mars.
No, we did not. No, we did not.
Okay,
also,
let's also throw up that. Throw that up. Getting to talk to Amanda Nord, like that was fucking bomb.
That was amazing. She's the fucking funniest person.
She was so sweet, and like I love when she like realized that. There's this moment when we're talking, and then we talk about how this is the first time we've seen each other in 10 years, and like her heart, like her eyes just glisten. Like she was so excited for us. I think she was more excited for us than we were. And then we were telling her like I'm from Canada and like I'm visiting, and like she was so sweet, and she just like I think she's just one of those people that is like a genuinely nice person and likes to see other people happy. So it was super sweet. Yeah.
I love that we had a very similar like high school experience with like going to 12 different schools.
Oh yeah, that's
like,
right.
Throughout. Like that really stuck with me, and I'm like, oh, forever bonded with you on that. That was definitely a highlight. She
was just so generous to talk about. Like she could have just said no, and we would have been like fine. And
okay.
Like it does. We did try to do another episode with her. Just timing didn't really work out, which kind of sucked. But yeah, it's hard when there's 3 schedules to work out instead of 2.
I don't know how people like with like 5 people on a podcast like do that. I'm just like, what? Where? What? How?
I just assume none of them have jobs.
That is their job. Is the podcast. I wish that would be nice. No, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Not as a job. It's a lot of no. I found that out doing this. I would not want to do this as like a career.
I think the weekly. If
it wasn't a TV show, I think I could do it.
I think we needed to be more ahead than we were.
Yeah, well, the problem is we would get ahead and then be cool that we got ahead and be like, let's take a break. And then we wouldn't be ahead anymore.
And then we both hit really bad like bouts of depression like separately. Like we couldn't have just hit them all at once.
I know.
By the time I was getting better, you were starting to get it, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're not recording.
This is just yeah. And then it was like 3 weeks of that, yeah. A couple different times.
Well, like near like mid-COVID or like last summer, I think I was like just done.
Yeah.
Like when I wasn't working, I was like really just like done.
And then mine hit like October, November. Or September
just
through
if
November.
I was getting like back to work and started to feel better.
And then I was like, oh, my turn to go into a spiral. This is fun. Let me have my 3 months now. I do want... Okay, so... There's an email I want to read.
Is it calling us fags? Have you been saving it for me?
I have.
You've been holding out?
So we got... Our email ended up being, like, spammed with some bullshit, and for a bit there, I just kind of stopped checking it for, like, a month or so.
What did it get spammed with?
Just a bunch of bullshit. But...
Also, do you know how many times I got messages from people who be like, let us help you, like, turn your podcast into, like, blah, blah. You can make money out of your podcast. And it's like... Okay, calm down, okay? We're almost done. What really offended me at the beginning when I, like, was actually putting a lot of effort into the podcast and, like, we can help you brand and make your podcast, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I spend a lot of time branding this bitch, so calm down.
At least, like, look at the account before, like, sending your auto messages. Like,
clearly
it's
we have a
annoying.
brand and we're good.
But we got a message from Lauren. I won't say your last name because I don't know
Is this
if
the
you
one
want
you sent
that.
me the other day?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just thought it was really cute. She says, I love you too much. Boys, this VM recap pod is truly for us Veronica stans. Your banter about the wigs, because yes, they are infuriatingly awful. Give hilarious Madison commentary. Hated Madison, honestly, but Amanda makes me give her a forever pass. And actually gave Duncan some credit. Would say poor Teddy, but dude is a boss now. You go, baby boy. He works for the DC ADA.
Oh, good for him.
And it all makes me cackle and enjoy. I've been enjoying this podcast during quarantine while rewatching, of course, and it makes my day. My one and only issue is that y'all say some things about casting and character names and plot that are maybe not on point, and sometimes you don't just go on IMDb to look it up. I get it. You've got shit to do and have lives. Respect beautiful humans. I love her. It may be too late, but I would like to offer my services as your official fact checker bitch. When you can't remember an actor's name or what they were in, I'd love to help. I sometimes find myself being like, my babes, I have this answer to your question.
Oh, I wish you would give us
late.
I wish you would give us some examples.
So I just laugh to myself or say things to my phone as you can hear me. Come on, we all yell at the TV screen audio when we know the answer. I'll get to this in a minute. My fact-checking bitch services come free of charge because you two are perfect and hilarious. With sincere love and absolute admiration, your fellow, always marshmallow, Lauren. P.S. Joe's screech and cackle is amazing, and I love how Travis is always the voice of reason, but also isn't against stirring some shit up. Also, as much as I want a season 5, I need Logan Jason Doering because I am that problematic girl that wants Logan to take me away to a fantasy land where we can be together forever. Felt this way pre-COVID, sticking with it.
Aren't we all, though?
That was an amazing email. I would like to say...
I thought our facts were pretty on point. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Okay. I do the same thing where, like, listening to a TV show podcast and I know the answer and I'm screaming it and I'm like, how do you not know this? Meanwhile, I have a podcast where I do the exact same thing.
I was watching a YouTube video about Sailor Moon the other day and they kept saying wrong things and I'm like, did you even look at the wiki?
Oh my god. And I will say, in our defense, Travis does scramble on IMDb every now and then.
Also,
when we
I
don't
will
know
say,
something.
the Veronica Mars wiki sucks and has not a lot of information.
Oh yeah, we basically just go off the IMDb and, like, pray to God we figured it out.
Because sometimes
also,
we'll Google a character. Like, I don't even think Madison has a proper page on the wiki, and it's stupid.
I mean, I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't think people care about Madison as much as we do. I mean, not that they don't, or that she doesn't have, like, her loyal set of fans, but
she better now.
I think
she had
we
a whole
carried
fucking
that.
segment.
She deserves it. She deserves more. But I also want to say, Travis as the voice of reason. That took me to another place in this email.
It's
You had me.
true.
I don't know about that. That sounds like you might have written and sent this.
I'm Lauren.
yourself. Hi, Lauren.
No, because I gave you a compliment, so we know it's not me. Because even in a fake email, I don't think I'd be able to give you a compliment.
See, you're putting what I taught you to use, though. Compliment, bad compliment. You being the voice of reason is the bad part, because it's just false.
Sir,
Lauren,
okay, have you listened to some of our podcasts where you're going off the rails, and I'm just like, come on now.
I have never gone off the rails. I don't even know what you're talking about. But Lauren, I just want to say I'm sorry that I didn't get to your email sooner. This was sent April 30th.
Ooh.
It is now June 16th.
Yeah.
So I apologize. Like I said, we were inundated with a bunch of spam on there, and Google was not doing its job in filtering it out. But thank you for that. That was. I came across that the other night, and I like immediately sent it to Travis because it cheered up.
I got it like
in the most
when
amazing
I
way.
woke up to it. It was quite endearing.
It was cute.
Do you have any like one favorite moment that really stands out to you from this podcast, or like something that really sticks with you, good or bad?
Yes, a couple actually. A couple.
Okay.
Probably my favorite, and I will remember this more likely till I die, is from the first season. I think it was episode 10. I want to say it was episode 10. In which we were talking about... Oh, no, maybe it wasn't episode 10. It was, like, 8 or something. Either way, it was the one where Keith dates the guidance counselor, Rebecca James.
Oh my god, wait, let me IMDb this so Lauren doesn't give it.
Hold on, let me text Lauren. Let me email her back.
Rebecca James. James.
I was right. Becky James.
Becky James.
And we were talking...
We nicknamed her.
I was talking about how when my mom was dating around, and I would be
I know exactly what you're gonna
an asshole to each and every guy she dated. And I was talking about how one time he came to pick me up for lunch, and I went, and being the asshole child, sat in the back seat instead of the front with him. And you proceeded to remark about how this is how a porno starts. And I had to inform you that I was in fact 10 years old when this story was taking place. And I have never seen you go from just like one to just dead on the floor, like laughing.
I think that's on. Did you post that on our social media? I think you did.
Like the clip?
Yeah.
Or
you
might
said it
have.
to me at some point.
I don't know.
The way you say it, because you're like, I was a child or something. So
I was
stupid.
10. I will always remember that. That is probably my it was pure. It was so... You were just trying to make such an offhanded joke. And it would have worked normally. It would have been fine. But sir, I was an infant of a child of 10.
Yeah, that I think we need I think we had actually like stopped because I was dying.
That was wonderful. What about you? Do you have anything?
My favorite moment, and it's something I don't think anyone knows about, and it's not even like a favorite moment, it's just a very memorable moment. So when we were recording the prom episode, Joe and I got into a bit of a tiff.
This was one of my other ones I was going to talk about.
We had we clearly had some it was kind of me. I clearly had some like issues that I was just like keeping down, and then it kind of all blew up, and then we were recording, and we were both...
And it happened in the middle of recording.
Yeah, and then we tried to finish recording, and Joe was being kind of a little bitch. And
I was just not giving anything. Like, I
basically just hung up, and then, like, we needed just, like, some time apart, because, like...
We talked it out before.
But...
And then we ended up just re-recording the segments, because that's where it really, like...
It was like the last... It was like the last chunk of the episode.
Yeah, it was right. Actually, it was right before this. It was at basically the prom scene.
It was basically the prom scene, and because we were talking about it, like the whole epic speech thing, and Joe's just like,
"Oh yeah,
and I'm like, "This is your big love moment. Now's your time."
And I was just not.
And we were talking about the dresses, and he's like, "Yeah, Jackie looks good. Yep." Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's like, because kind of what we got into like a huff about was, like, not to get
Logan
too
and
into
Veronica?
it, but like, there's issues, I guess, that I was feeling underappreciated and attacked. And then he just shut down when I brought those up.
Sure did.
It was a good
Classic
time.
Joe.
It was a
classic.
Yeah,
Joe.
it was a classic Joe.
Loves to shut down.
So then I just like hung up because I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I can't.
Well, we finished recording the episode, and then it was just like, okay, bye, and we left. It was great. It was because we don't ever like really fight, so it was like a very big moment for us
because it was like if we fight, it's usually stupid things and it's like not serious things,
shallow and pedantic.
Shallow and pedantic, but this one like had actually some weight to it that we had to like kind of be adults and talk about. And it's funny because like we don't, which I think is a good thing about our friendship is because like I think it's brought us closer, which is hard to do when we don't live in the same general area.
It has like.
You were just such a little bit. I was so like done by then. And then you just kept calling me, and I'm like, no.
Well, because I was like, I'm pissed. I want to just like talk this and get this over.
I need
like,
you to cool down.
What is going on? No, that was the issue. You wouldn't tell me what was that. Oh my god, that sent me into overdrive.
I told you what the issue was,
but you wouldn't like talk it anyway.
Oh, so I know as myself, whenever I have really bad issues with friends or confrontation, I burn the friendship to the ground. Like, burn it to the ground. I've done it 3 times, so I know my pattern. So I'm like, okay, I just need to like take a breath because I don't want to say something that, because I go for the low blow. I won't go for that low blow, and I'm like, I know things I could say about Joe that would like really hurt him and really get under his skin, and I don't want to do it.
But that's real friendship. When you know you could say something like that would just destroy them, but you're like, no, they are my friend.
It's like Christina and I, we talk about that. We both have things where we can say, we both have that like escape button that we will never press, but we know it's there.
It's there. It's sitting in the corner.
That big red button is there, but we all know not to touch it. Like, I've called her, like, I can... some of the things I've said to her are so gross and inappropriate, but they're a joke, and, like, that's not offensive.
Right.
Like, but, like, the real stuff is, like, the real stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. So
that's one of my favorite moments, because it's, like...
It was a real moment for us, too. Like,
looking back at it, it's silly, because I think the issues I was having were very, like, whatever.
Oh, it was only because it had built up. Like, if it would have,
only because I didn't say something like the first time, and then it was like 6 episodes of the thing happening, and I'm like, okay, I guess now's the time to like shut down.
This is a good friendship.
Yeah,
this is healthy.
I didn't think it was bugging me until I guess it was really bugging me.
Oh my god. I had another thing, and I should have written it down, because there's another moment, and I don't know why. It's one of those things that's, like, memorable, but I'll forget about it when I need to think about it. And it's gonna drive me nuts, and I'll remember it as soon as we stop recording.
Of course.
But I don't know. I really enjoyed, the fact that I was able to go to the Veronica Mars fan event in LA. That was amazing. That I never thought. I couldn't have even imagined that happening when we started this podcast.
Like, I kind of wish
I fangirled about
been,
Diane
like,
Ruggiero.
Welcome to Scientology, but that's kind of what I was hoping you're going to finish and be like, hey, Travis, let me tell you about Scientology.
Oh my goodness, the amount of Scientology jokes I have had to cut out of this podcast.
I guess we can talk about it now because like we're done. But that was something. Yeah, there was one. I can't remember what the joke was, but Joe had to like be like, "Should I keep this in?" And I think we both agreed because I think it was a Scientology joke.
It was,
we're like, ugh.
I went back and forth on that one.
Yeah.
Before I released it. And I mean, it's just, I honestly, I didn't know Jason Dohring was a part of Scientology until we started this podcast.
I only knew because they showed image of him in the Leah Remini Escape from Scientology thing. But also, did you know his dad was like, his dad did Neopets? I don't know what he did.
Yes!
He did Neopets.
That's wild! Neopets. I mean, I never played Neopets because I never had, like, a computer.
Can we get your poor Joe?
Shut up!
See, that's not one of the things. There's worse things I could say to Joe than calling him a poor child, so...
I'm white trash and I'm in trouble, and I know that about myself. What was I even saying?
Neopets. You never played it because you're a poor child.
Yes, I never had a computer. I did, but I know, like, I knew plenty of people that played it or whatever, and I would have friends that would play it at the school library because they knew how to, like, get around, like, whatever for it. But I never really, by the time I got to it, like, I was well into high school. So it wasn't really anything for me.
I'm surprised how, like, it was free to play, which nowadays is, like, crazy. And there was no, like, microtransactions, because I think there was, but, like, back then, so back in the, I don't think it must have been the early 2000s at this point. They were a lot more, stuff aimed for kids had a lot less, like, money grabbing in it. Like, if it was for kids, it was for kids. Like,
oh, well, one thing I did play, though, that was Neopets, because I'd go to my aunt's house, and she had, like, a laptop, and her kids would...
Ooh.
Like, and I played with them. The Cartoon Network. The Cartoon Network, like, I don't remember. They had, like, all these games. From Cartoon Network. It was, like, in its prime. It was, like, a summer bash type thing, and you had to basically go hunt for items and, like, give them to people, and, like, it was... one of those things. Either way, I was like super obsessed with that for a while.
I get you.
But I was never... we'd have like flash games like in computer lab that you can get onto and play. Like, did you ever play the helicopter game?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my god, that thing... Like, we would have tournaments in computer lab over it on who could get the farthest. That was so much fun. It was so
At
stupid.
our computer lab, 3 computers played Roller Coaster Tycoon. So it's basically like...
fighting.
You wanted that computer. And then our teacher, was it Mr. Green? He realized what was going on, so he like started cycling people through.
These are gonna rotate, you guys.
Yeah.
So do you want to, I guess, talk about what we have planned next?
What do we have planned next, Joe?
Oh, I see how you beautifully segued that over and back into me.
Well, my plan is to go to the dentist tomorrow. What do you got going on?
That is not what I meant. So for our next project, at least what we're thinking, and I'm pretty sure
it was. I'm not gonna lie. We tried to like get it planned before we filmed this, but it's really hard to like start a new podcast when you're trying to like finish up another one.
And you barely have time to like finish up that one. I guess we can kind of talk about that the main idea and like some others, but our next one that we want to do would be focused on basically queer comics, like a bunch of gay shit in comics, like whether that's actual gay comics or like the writers, whatever that would entail, because we're both, well, I'm a new comic book fan. fell pretty hard into it.
That's like one of the highlights of the pandemic is how hard you fell for comics.
I've spent so much money.
It's fine. You work so hard.
I do. But like between Travis just being Travis and this new X-Men era, I've very much fallen hard into the comic fandom.
Yes.
Certain parts of it. But originally, I guess we were wanting to do just like a comics podcast, like just any comics.
Originally, what we wanted to do was just not just a comic podcast, but a comic podcast, and like give it a queer bent, like read something and like kind of add our own gay subtext to it. I think was what we originally kind of wanted to do.
Yeah, but that's also it's a very niche. I don't want to say market, but niche market.
But it's also very broad. Like
I don't know. It feels
broad.
Yeah, I was just gonna. It feels way too broad to just be like it's a comics. Like we just talk about comics. Sure, there's thousands of titles to like go from. So,
and I think when we were trying to figure out which ones to do, it would be so hard to narrow down what we want to talk about and still stay current.
Yeah, because like then you have to like battle out by going with old classic stuff and like the new stuff that's like currently going.
Because I think old stuff was super gay, which was like really fantastic.
I mean, yeah, going some fucking Golden Age Batman, and it's or is it Silver Age? Yeah, and it is very homoerotic. But this going with like focusing on like queer and gay comics, it gives it a bit more of a focus too. Like,
yeah, and I think there's so many really interesting.
I imagine it might be.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and also introduce us to like some new things that we wouldn't have normally probably read. What was I?
Well, it's so fascinating what's being done in comics right now with queer creators that. Like, I just spent $100 on gay comics, and I got a lot of really interesting different things that I'm very excited to read.
I'm excited.
There's like a boxing one, like a kickboxing one, and like a fencing one, and a hockey one.
I'm not. The whole sports thing is just gonna be a lot.
I'm so into it because honestly, like the gay like porno industry has milked every sports possible. It's time that comics did it too.
That's fair. So like also with like going we were to just go with like a broad comic podcast, I feel it would be very searching on Netflix for something to watch where there's like you want to watch too much and you can't decide on one thing.
I think the big reason we did not do this is because originally I was going to do the DC stuff and Joe was going to do the Marvel stuff. But he refuses to do anything else on X-Men. So this is just his, like, way of
I don't care about anything else from Marvel.
So this is his way
X-Men.
of getting around it.
Because you know what's really gay? X-Men.
Exactly.
There's at least 3 queer writers right now on X-Men. So, no, 2. Sorry. 2. So, no. 3. I was right. Damn. So, this is my way of... Listen, okay? I don't care about Marvel. I love like, if I were to pick between the two, it would have to be DC. Like, outside of X-Men. And DC I'm sorry, but Marvel gave
a shot of X-Men.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if we could somehow make that the podcast, like, just Batman and X-Men. I would even be good with that. Like, just a Batman, like...
We'll just call it
Batman.
The DX-Men.
DX-Men. The DMX-Men. Which is something completely different.
Okay, we also had other ideas for podcasts. Like, I pitched an idea to do review pilots, but that kind of didn't really go anywhere.
I also I don't want to do another TV podcast. I think
fair. I get it. I wanted to do like backdoor
I love the idea,
pilots,
though.
but that's such a niche thing. Just do all backdoor pilots. I don't know how long that would last.
Because then you would also, like, if you don't know about the show, like the original show.
I love the idea of backdoor pilots. They really fascinate me, but you have to, like, have some sort of investment for them to work. Like, the Grey's Anatomy private practice backdoor pilot doesn't work if you don't know who Addison is.
I mean, amazing character, but you wouldn't know that unless you've watched the previous, 2 seasons of Grey's Anatomy? Or
like, if you've not seen... Addison Montgomery still has one of the best TV introductions ever.
Yes! Are you the woman that's sleeping with my husband? Gagged! Oh!
And that's the only time I'm like okay with a TV show shortening a season is to make that the season finale.
That was perfect. Because that was supposed to be like the mid-season finale, wasn't it? And then it ended up being, like,
but Shonda's like, you know what? You know what, guys? Trust me.
I'm going to give it to you.
And she was right.
We also had another idea where it was basically... What?
Into it?
Not into it. Where we basically talked about a subject that we were not into for an hour or so.
I thought it could be interesting to see, like...
No, it would be
get into
really
it.
fun. Oh, like, by the end of it, like, try to convince the other person to, like, be into it.
Yeah, or, like, be like, hey, after doing all this research, I'm kind of interested in this subject now. But then a part of me is like, my brain can only hold so much stuff, and it's so filled with random Buffy and Sailor Moon facts, I can't add anything else to this.
I think, like, that was something along those lines. That would be... It's basically between those two ideas. Very much heavily leaning towards the gay comic podcast, just because... want to read comics anyway, why not, like, introduce ourselves to more queer
at least
content?
Having, like, the not into it, while it's really cool, there's no way to market it, because you can't be like, it's about... There's no tagline. It can't be like, it's about this. Like, there's
It would be a good podcast to have if you had a decent audience, like a pretty good-sized audience going into it. Kind of like... So, my favorite podcast, like, and the one that, like, introduced me into... like, podcasts in general, like, it was my first one, it made me interested in the genre, is The Read, and I found out about it. It's basically two gay black friends that just read celebrities and, like, the general population each episode, and it's beautiful. Like, they're going on, like, 9 years, something like that. And the reason I knew about it is because one of the hosts, Kid Fury, he had a YouTube channel, and I, like, was a fan of the YouTube channel, and then he mentioned, like, a couple times that he had a podcast or whatever. I'm like, I don't know what a fucking podcast is. And then by the time they were, like, in episode 12 or something, I started listening, and I was obsessed, and that really worked for them because they had, like, built up an audience before that. Like, they had a good following, a decent, like, not, like, huge or anything, but a decent enough to get it off the ground to where this podcast about just reading celebrities for an hour and a half, like, would be able to gain traction and keep going. We don't have that, though. So
we love you guys, but we're not there yet.
We are not a legion yet. We'll get there someday. But until then, I think
Veronica Mars season 4 really fucked us over.
Yes. Oh, did it ever? Because honestly, we were climbing really well in the views, and then it kind of, it didn't plummet. Like, it didn't go down. It just plateaued.
Yeah.
At that point, like, there weren't new people, like, getting into it or wanting to revisit it at that point.
But I do find it really interesting. Not a lot, but there is a few people I've noticed who were very bitter have now kind of made a 360 or coming back around.
I will admit, like, it was shocking. It was a tough pill to swallow. Like, it wasn't easy. Like, it was an established character.
But I also like
It was a fan favorite established.
I think if something like that happened, but no, because like I was so into Buffy, and I didn't stop watching Buffy after Tara died. A lot of characters I've loved have died over
You had
the
one
years.
season. You had one season. You had one season after Tara died.
Veronica Mars had
And then it
zero
became it's the
seasons
last
after
season, so
Logan
you
died.
have to watch.
But even shows like Grey's Anatomy killed off, like, when Lexi died, I still watched it.
Oh my god. Shonda. Okay, listen. That bitch. Okay, listen. Fucking first she takes us with that goddamn plane, and then you're like, okay, she killed enough here. And then the goddamn shooter comes in the hospital and wrecks everybody's fucking life.
No, the shooter was before the plane.
Regardless, I don't care what happened in what time sequence.
So, like, Lexi was there for the shooting.
Was she? Or was she there in spirit?
She found... Because she walks in on Alex in the elevator when he shot.
Oh. Either way, it's been a decade since I watched
shooting
season
is
8 of Grey's
one of my
Anatomy.
favorite episodes of TV. Also,
Hands down.
The bomb episode is probably the best Grey's episode.
Oh, and you get what's worked so well about that too is just it's such a.
I'm not saying Christina Ricci
culmination.
is the reason, but Christina Ricci is the reason.
It's like a culmination of like who Meredith's character is and who she will be going forward.
Yes.
From that point, like it was just such a
idiot.
pivotal moment for the character of Meredith Grey.
But also like
so
the season
good.
2 finale with like when Alex is holding Lexi in the not Lexi, Izzy in the prom dress. And then the season 3 finale when Meredith cuts Christina out of her wedding dress is like Mama took my eyebrows. Like there's so many like
Mama took my eyebrows.
Grey's Anatomy knew how to do a season finale. Like their season 4
I
finale
would do a
kinda
podcast
sucked
on the
as
first 8
writer's block,
seasons.
but
I would do a podcast on the first 8 seasons of Grey's Anatomy.
I could go to 10. I could go till Christina leaves.
Okay, no, that's fair. Oh my god,
might as well.
just to talk about her speech to Meredith about
how she's the son.
how I got chills. That is one of my favorite television show speeches because fuck Derek Shepherd. Oh, yeah. I love.
Well, she's doing fine without
Christina
him.
Yang.
Meredith's hooking up with some young hot
flourishing.
guys.
Flourishing, and now I'm not saying that Patrick Dempsey. No, not Patrick Dempsey. I'm not saying that Derek Shepherd was extremely homophobic. However, we didn't get any gay doctors or interns until he was killed. So
I'm just gonna throw this out there, but him and Mark fucked. So I don't.
That doesn't make him not homophobic.
He was homophobic
Just
because him and Mark fucked. Yeah, and that's why he was so angry why Addison slept with Mark.
That was his baby boy. Baby boy.
Well, no, we had Callie was there, and she was a lesbian.
Oh, no, I said gay men. Like, we had lesbians
sorry.
on Grey's forever. He loves to watch a lesbian.
What's his face?
TR Knight?
The fact that Shonda brought back what's his name, and
Burke.
not
Izzy.
Izzy, destroys me because I don't think what Catherine Hagel did was really that awful.
It not as bad as like calling someone a fucking faggot.
And then
like,
doing it like at an award show, like live. I did not call TR a faggot. It's still one of my favorite TV moments in history.
Meanwhile, Patrick Dempsey. What I will give Patrick Dempsey credit for that for throwing a fist at him.
Well, because I think Patrick Dempsey's not homophobic. Derek,
No.
homophobic.
No. That's why I had to correct myself earlier when I was like Patrick Dempsey's homophobic. No. That is not true.
Okay.
He can say faggot, but he won't. He'll fucking punch someone that does, though.
Okay. I think we're getting off
it?
track here. I think we're getting ready to go. I just want to say thank you for every single person, even if you only listen to one episode. It's been a fantastic ride. I think the most important thing is, if you really like us, follow us on social media. Like, we want to do new things. And if Veronica Mars ever gets a season 5 or another movie, or maybe one day we'll have the urge to do the books, because I know some of you really want us to do that, or something. If this podcast is not done, we're just
It won't be about Veronica Mars. I'm thinking, honestly, we'll probably won't honestly come back till probably like September.
Legit.
For
I
one,
need a summer
I need this
off.
heat to like.
Yes, that too.
I need a break. I need the heat to like stop a little bit,
and we need to like figure out what we're doing and record more than one episode.
We also like, this is the only time we get to like see each other, like video call each other.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to do that once a week where we're not like.
Well, I will say
recording something or like.
Last week, my internet dropped like 10 times, so I'm very happy it didn't drop at all this time.
Oh, God, we couldn't have recorded last week if we wanted to.
Skype hasn't frozen once.
Yeah, on our last episode, you have frozen like a little bit, but not as bad as it normally is.
On the last episode that doesn't matter, it has not been an issue.
I do want to also give a special thank you and shout out to Memp7 on Instagram. She, throughout this entire podcast, she has always been there. Like, anytime we had like a question on the podcast about like something that happened or like something we were confused on, she was always there in our Instagram DMs, like the day of the episode release, like being the sweetest person ever, being like, well, this is like explaining it basically if we were like being dumb or we had misspoken about something. Like, she was very cool about it. And, like,
she called us on our shit.
I loved it. She was amazing. She was super sweet and helpful. Thank you for that. Jamie, also, he's been almost a day one. Probably not day one, but like within that first season, and always coming to us on Twitter, and I really appreciate that, Jamie. Thank you. And Beth on Instagram, she was always a big supporter and champion of us. So thank you as well.
Thank you. I
didn't want to forget
Rowan
about that.
Celeste. She is also always commenting and liking, and she's been there from the very, very beginning as well.
Yes. Oh, and like, just such a beacon of light. She's an extremely positive person, and I love that about her.
She's so positive. I'm like, why are you listening to us?
Right? Why are you listening to us be stupid? Like,
oh my god.
And I know I'm forgetting other people.
Oh my god, who's what's
Sarah?
I feel so bad. Why can't I remember his name? My Canadian homeboy,
Colin,
Canadian, my Mr. Moose.
Yes.
He was also there from like very early on.
Who I like to call C.S. Smith, but it's just C. Smith. And
yeah, I
in my head it's like C.S. Lewis, but C.S. Smith.
yeah.
So that's just a fun fact for you, Colin.
All I know is he's like in love with the moose from Animal Crossing. The one time I visited his island, and the moose lived in like a heart-shaped little like villa, and it was very, very cute.
I am making him my Diablo 2 buddy against his will. If you're still listening this far into the episode, Colin, we are playing forever. You are going to be my Diablo buddy because Travis won't play.
I will not. Am I kidding?
You will not play. You've already told me you won't. But yes, thank you so much, all of you, for these past 2 years. It's been just a little over 2 years exactly. We started this thing on, I believe it was June 6th.
But it's funny because we started recording and putting this together around Christmas the year before.
We came up with it in January of December of 2018.
Yeah.
Started recording January of 2019 and released stuff starting June of.
Because we recorded the first episode 3 times.
Yes. Oh, we did.
3 times. We
I
recorded
had
it 3
blocked
times.
that out of my memory. 3 times we recorded.
There was also
that
a great
pilot
story.
episode.
3 times we recorded the pilot.
Oh, I had shot that out of my memory. God damn.
Because I recorded it in like
All right.
2 different places.
Oh, it was horrible. But that is it for today, my friends.
Yes. If you like what you listen to, follow us on social media. Maybe not Veronica Mars Pod, but
Don't. It'll be Veronica Mars Pod. Veronica Mars Pod for a bit, and then once it isn't, you'll be redirected. You'll find the new spot easy as long as you're following us on social media. Also, stay subscribed to the podcast. I'm not going to be one of those podcasts that just starts like releasing random shit that has like nothing to do onto this feed. But if you do want to know about our next project, be sure to continue to subscribe because...
And like I said, we might do some Veronica Mars stuff down the line. You never know. You never know when our interest is going to pick up again. Because there will be a time where we're going to want to watch or rewatch season 1 and maybe discuss a book or 2.
Exactly. And this will... Our next... If it's not a Veronica Mars episode, our next episode will be telling you where you can find us for our new podcast or
You
new
can't
project,
get rid of us.
whatever
I mean,
it is.
the new Gossip Girl's coming out, so who knows what the fuck's going to happen.
I'm just saying Gossip Gaze might happen. I haven't talked to Travis about that, but he's actually excited about the trailer. I am not, but
It was
such a
oh my
turn.
god, the first trailer I thought was more exciting.
Teaser I was
teaser
for. The
was like-
trailer,
But anything with Kristen Bell's voice, it's realistically just like a little fall Kristen Bell podcast.
basically. All right. I don't know how to. If you want to follow us on social media, we are at Veronica Mars Pod on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us there. You can follow me personally on Twitter, where I just talk about X-Men and a lot of gay shit. Anytime I'm on there, I am at Ojo. That is OHJEAUX. Travis, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm really into like a Sailor Moon thing right now. You can find me at Travis Truant. That's Travis, then Truant.
Perfect. And with that, we will not say goodbye. We will say good night. Good night, everyone. We love you.
XOXO.
You tried to say Veronica Mars. We get it. Girl detectives are bitchier than regular detectives. Not into it.